Is Jacob Fatu injured ahead of his match at Clash in Italy against Roman Reigns? Welcome to a Latte's Vision episode number 18 and the Smackdown summary combined into one video. We're going to start with a Latte's Vision. Let's talk about Jacob Fatu's potential injury. After a WWE live event in Liverpool, Jacob Fatu was seen limping following his match against Solo Sikoa. It is unclear whether or not he was just selling or if this was like a real, actual, legitimate injury. He, as of now, hasn't been pulled from his Clash in Italy match or anything. There's been no reports saying he's for sure actually injured, so hopefully this was just him selling. Hopefully Jacob is obviously okay, because this is literally the biggest match of his entire career. So, you know, this will be pretty unfortunate if he was actually injured. Speaking of injuries, Stephanie Vaquer, who's been reportedly kept off of TV because of an injury since WrestleMania, is expected to be back in the mix by this weekend. There are pitches for her to appear on Raw, but as of now, she is not expected to travel to Italy. Either way, very glad that Stephanie's almost back, because she is much needed, because they are clearly just waiting on her to actually, care about Liv Morgan in the Women's World Championship. So hopefully Stephanie gets back as soon as possible, and I really hope when she has a rematch with Liv that they get a proper amount of time, because they will put on an absolute banger heater of a match. Sami Zayn has officially turned heel, official, on SmackDown. Last week's episode of SmackDown specifically, he lost in a match against Cody Rhodes and then just let Gunther attack Cody Rhodes and hold him in the sleeper hold for a while there. Just walked away and did not care. Much needed character change for Sami Zayn, and I'm really hoping that they don't waste this. Ludwig Kaiser was arrested last week and was bailed out of jail the same night. WWE is not seemingly going to take any disciplinary action against Ludwig Kaiser for his arrest, and honestly, if the story is true that the dude threatened to call ICE on his girlfriend, that's good. They shouldn't punish him, because in that case, the punch would absolutely be justified. And the person who bailed him out of jail was reportedly Gunther. Obviously, they've been best friends for decades and were in a faction together, so this makes all the sense in the world. And great thing for Gunther to do, especially, like I said, if that story is true. The next thing we have to talk about is Logan Paul. Paul had tricep surgery after his injury at Saturday night's main event. His recovery time is reportedly around 6 months, and you never want to see anyone really get injured, so this is unfortunate, especially since this was Joe Hendry's this is all he did on Raw. So don't know what they're going to do with him. I really hope Joe Hendry doesn't just get swept to the side or swept under the rug. That would be really unfortunate, but hope Logan Paul gets well as soon as possible. Staying on the topic of injuries, at Saturday night's main event, Soruka was also reportedly injured. However, don't panic, it is seemingly not too bad, because she's still scheduled for a match at Clash in Italy. There haven't been any serious reports saying, she broke her leg or something. So it's seeming like Soul's going to be okay, but nonetheless, I hope she gets well as soon as possible. Clash in Italy is just 2 days away, and reportedly there was an internal creative pitch back in April involving Santino Marella making an appearance at Clash in Italy, and I really want to see this. I think they need to have more backstage segments at premium live events. I don't think this will happen, though. I think what could happen, though, is that he appears on the Raw after Clash in Italy, which is also in Italy. I think that would make a lot more sense, considering they don't really do backstage segments at premium live events, unfortunately. Packers running back Josh Jacobs has been arrested on several domestic violence charges. And if these, charges are true, oh boy, there's some stuff to talk about. He was charged with felony strangulation and suffocation alongside misdemeanor counts of battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. I don't know what bro did, but you better hope these allegations aren't true. I don't expect him to actually get arrested probably because he has millions of dollars to get the best lawyer he possibly can. But if he did actually do this, I really hope he does go to jail and pay for what he did. The last thing we have to talk about on Latte's vision part of this video is WWE seemingly has no plans for CM Punk, and that is why he's not been on TV. How do you not have plans for like your third biggest guy in the company? The dude was World Heavyweight Champion a month ago and was in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania and put on the best match of the year with Roman Reigns. And you don't have any plans for him? That is just insane. That is absurd. That is criminal. Get CM Punk back on TV. And it made him look stupid, especially because on the Raw after Mania, I believe it was, he said he's not going anywhere and hasn't been on Raw or anything WWE TV related since. Now let's get into the SmackDown summary. The show kicked off with Jade Cargill, who was interrupted very quickly by Rhea Ripley. They had a pretty solid little back and forth there before Charlotte Flair came out, along with Alexa Bliss. Alexa and Jade had a nice little back and forth, and that led to a match between Alexa and Jade, which Jade actually ended up winning, which was a pleasant surprise. I like that they're building her to be very strong going into her challenging Rhea at Clash in Italy. And I'm very excited to see who wins because I really don't know who could win there because there's so many different branching choices and options that could come out of that match depending on who wins. I like that Jade isn't just not being used and stopped getting pushed after losing the title. Very glad to see her still doing good and well. Then we had a match between Axiom and The Miz. Axiom being from Spain, I believe. And the reason I say I believe is because I wasn't able to watch this full episode of SmackDown yet. I did do a brief watch through to try to get this video out as soon as possible, but I was at school, so I could not watch the entire thing. I was only able to actually watch the final hour. And I watched the Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley promo thing. And the Jade and Alexa match. Okay, that's besides the point. Axiom won. Cool homecoming for him. That's about it. Sami Zayn talked to the corpse of Johnny Gargano yet again. And I just want to talk about this because I want to point out how disgusting this is. Johnny Gargano's, not only is his face on these dirty stairs, but his mouth is touching the stairs. That is absolutely disgusting. I hope Johnny Gargano drank a gallon of soap after this, or possibly just bleach, and showered himself with it too after this, because that is disgusting. Charlotte and Rhea then also had a backstage segment where Charlotte was, quite frankly, not too happy with Jade Cargill and was desperate to get another shot at her, and Rhea was like, don't worry, at Clash in Italy, I'm gonna take care of her. And then Charlotte was like, okay, but if you don't, I will. So that also leads me to think that Charlotte could potentially get involved during or after that match, potentially costing Rhea on accident, which I don't think this friendship is going to last long at all. And I don't think anybody does either. So I'm expecting Charlotte in that Jade versus Rhea match at Clash in Italy. We had a tag team match between Damian Priest and Royce Keys teaming up against MFT. Tala Tonga ended up picking up the win, pinning Damian Priest. I don't really have much to say about this, except I really hope Royce Keys isn't going to be stuck in the Wepaverse or not the Wepaverse, the MFT vortex. Well, I don't want him to be stuck in the Wepaverse either, but don't be stuck in the MFT vortex for 9 months. We had a segment with Trick Williams and Lil Yachty. A really good promo because Trick Williams is just so good at, promos and being a good mic worker. And he was interrupted by Carmelo Hayes. Please get this feud going. I am very impatient, quite frankly, and I need to see this feud. And then Ricky Saints came out, and we got another match between Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes, and it's looking like we might be getting another one of those best of 7 type series, which I would love because this match was amazing, and they just keep having banger after banger, and they need to allow that to happen. I want inject this into my veins every week, please. And also, Trick Williams officially declared himself as a part of the King of the Ring tournament. Another person who did that was JC Jane, declaring herself for the Queen of the Ring tournament in a backstage segment. Then we had a match between Nia Jax and Chelsea Green. And Chelsea Green was actually able to pick up the win over Nia Jax, which is pretty crazy. Yes, it was with the help of Tiffany Stratton, who smashed her with the title, and then Chelsea just pinned her, but that's still a big win for Chelsea Green, and I am loving this storyline between Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton, where Chelsea Green is oblivious and thinks they're best friends, when in reality, Tiffany just doesn't like her. Then we had the main event segment. It was a promo between Gunther and Cody Rhodes. It was actually a really good promo, and Cody said some very accurate stuff, I think. And he told him that he's going to find out, I'm paraphrasing here, I think he basically said he's going to find out that just like all the other, quote, pure professional wrestlers, that he is just not that good. And honestly, I never thought I'd say this. You know what, I'm not going to say it. I am not rooting for Cody Rhodes. I am rooting against Gunther here. I do think Gunther would be an interesting, champion. And if he does lose, where does he go from here? I don't know. I go more in depth on this, by the way, in my Clash in Italy official predictions video, which I can link in the description, or I will link it in the description. Very excited for this match, though. I'm honestly excited for every match at Clash in Italy. And staying on the topic of Clash in Italy, to end off this episode or video, we will talk about Clash in Italy a little bit. We'll go over the full match card. It was officially announced that Cody Rhodes versus Gunther is going to open the show. So I originally thought Brock and Oba would open the show, Roman Jacob would close the show and main event the show. Is Brock and Oba just going to be in the middle of the show? Because that's pretty lame. I'm not sure, but this is going to be a banger heater of a card. We have Cody versus Gunther for the undisputed WWE Championship, with Cody being the champion. We have Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi Part 2. We have Jacob Fatu challenging Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship in Tribal Combat Us. Soruka challenging Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And Jade Cargill challenging Rhea Bloody Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. If you want to see my predictions for each one of these matches, that includes who I think is going to win, why, and any other interferences or debuts, returns, whatever, any other predictions I have for the matches, go watch my official Clash in Italy predictions video, link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and